Hi everyone, I am Pooja. I'm a recent graduate from Stanford's MBA program, Stanford Graduate School of Business. The experience has been a wild ride with ups and downs, but here today I wanted to share the 2 essays that I wrote that got me admission into the program. The first essay is What Matters Most to You and Why, and the second one is Why Stanford. So without further ado, let's go into it.
I chased her across the globe, Kigali, Bamako, Port Moresby, and I finally found her. To be clear, I was only 6 when I first traveled the world, albeit virtually. I was looking for Carmen, the villain of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. As a child, my only dream was to connect with interesting people in the farthest corners of the planet. At 10, I set goals to attain fluency in 5 languages and live on every continent. And when I became a college student, I lived on exchange in Australia, volunteered in Peruvian prisons, advised an Argentinian media company on growth opportunities, and apprenticed at Indian NGOs driving economic development. Through all of these adventures, I witnessed business as a transformative force for the people who received jobs, for a country's economy, and for the broader world. My ambition became to use business to affect global change. And it found expression in IBM's new $1 billion artificial intelligence division, Watson. As the first hire to help build this organization, I found myself on a modern 21st century expedition defining the parameters of an emerging technology. Without a roadmap, I was helping IBM rewrite its narrative as we strive to create a market that didn't exist yet. And by successfully launching Watson, we would change IBM and the trajectory of industries worldwide. But at first, nothing went according to plan. After a year, no team had closed a single deal. During my 29 pitches, I observed excitement about AI, but a hesitation to pay for innovation. And when I finally closed our first deal with South Africa's largest bank, it elicited celebrations within Watson and IBM globally. But later, when unforeseen issues forced senior leadership to cancel the project within days of the delivery, I refused to let the project fail. I stepped in as the delivery lead, reworked the project schedule, and identified a local team to implement. And after numerous pivots, we delivered, and our client CEO asked me to present another phase to the board. And our first delivery snowballed into many more. And Watson was taking off. During my time in South Africa, though, I fell in love with its people. Many of whom shared how technology would help them catch up from the tragedy of apartheid. Due to their openness, I lamented the way others warned me of a dangerous country. In embracing my hosts, I learned that human connections can truly be universal when imbued with sincerity. I yearned to push myself deeper into the unknown and shrugged off any family concerns about a riskier move. As a young female professional, I joined Watson's first joint venture with the Sovereign Investment Fund of the United Arab Emirates. I arrived in Abu Dhabi, emboldened by the Sheikh's desire to use Watson as an avenue to diversify its economy, but found a JV already facing serious challenges. Our local general manager had no prior experience with IBM or Watson and was completely overwhelmed. I offered to be of any help, creating presentations, educating him on Watson, driving team meetings, but still, he wasn't able to foster the team's trust. I tried to build a stronger team, hosted dinners, learned to sail and golf, just to bond with key partners, but my attempts to manage up proved futile, and our JV unraveled. Still, I had come to the UAE to explore and make critical human connections. And while IBM would have actually paid for me to travel to weekend destinations with other Americans, I went deep into the surrounding countries and found salvation in the people. On a trip to Jordan, I left with a small backpack and found myself stranded after a car accident, only to find shelter with a Bedouin family. I fell in love with their homes in the untouched valleys of the Wadi Rum Desert and remain close with them to this day. In Egypt, I met Rania, a single mother conducting tours to support her son. We bonded over our love for meditation while roaming the streets of Old Cairo eating local kushari. And through unexpected friendships, I began to create my tribe, finding people of grit and spirit everywhere, overcoming hardships with compassion and grace. I have navigated life with an explorer's heart, leading an expedition into the unknown. At every step, I've challenged myself to face uncertainty, only to find out that I've learned about humanity and how business can be used as a vehicle to transform economies and lives. Empowered by these experiences, I'm, once again, eager to launch my next expedition, uncertain of the outcome, but excited about the possibilities. So why Stanford? Why Stanford? Being at the forefront of artificial intelligence in the world's developing economies, I have had a unique vantage point to understand AI's potential to transform the world. Watson's applications were understandably commercial, which limited my ability to harness the technology to drive broad societal impact. To me, AI was like electricity only being used to power an electrical socket, when it truly had the power to light up a nation. I can imagine applying AI to satellite imagery, to build a dynamic atlas that determines the rates of deforestation or conduct long-term food forecasting. I want to deploy AI with governmental and humanitarian leaders striving to solve the world's most pressing international development problems. At IBM, the leaders that most effectively managed innovation globally had an interdisciplinary skill set, complemented by a vision which was deeply grounded in technological knowledge. I aspire to cultivate my vision and technological knowledge at Stanford by learning under assistant professor and AI thought leader, Dr. Michael Kaczynski, and by studying machine learning and natural language understanding in the engineering school Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. Meantime, I will build out the interdisciplinary skills needed to be a champion for visionary ideas. I would join the low keynotes to unlock the art of effectively inspiring an audience with a vision. I would aspire to become an Arbuckle Fellow to better understand team formation and dynamics. I would take political economy courses such as The Future of Growth, Developed and the Developing World, and join the Social Innovation Club to adopt others' perspectives on how to leverage AI to tackle the most pressing social challenges. Finally, I would contextualize my skills through creating high-potential ventures in developing economies and strategic management of technology and innovation. Perhaps, though, most compelling to me is the ethos of self-introspection woven through the fabric of the GSB experience. I witnessed my college friend enter Stanford as a finance buff, but emerge with a broad skill set and perspective, enabling him to found a company that seeks to improve immigrant lending. He shared how touchy-feely lead labs and global study trips led to deeper self-awareness. And more importantly, he shared how being immersed in a cohort of uniquely accomplished colleagues made him recalibrate who he aspired to be as a person. So as someone grounded in a lifelong practice of meditation, I know the power of self-reflection in helping me evolve to my maximum potential as a leader. I aspire to continue my personal exploration through the GSB curriculum and its incomparable community.